Hello and welcome this wonderful Wednesday morning to Markets Insight. I am Lavina Emma. So this week from 18th March to Friday 22nd March is Global Money Week 2024, and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in partnership with FinCodeNet is having an international seminar in Paris to mark the Global Money Week. So this year, the theme is Protect Your Money, Secure Your Future. In addition, the Nigerian Exchange is also having a closing gong ceremony on the trading floor this afternoon at 2 p.m. and Souk News will be there to cover the events live. So today, to also mark the Global Money Week celebration, we are talking about tackling financial crime and fraud in cryptocurrency. So my colleague, Ikenna Mba, is also here with me, so I just want to discuss with him a few things about cryptocurrency and whether he has ever invested in it and what was the impact on his finances of investing in cryptocurrency. Good morning, Ikenna. I'm happy to have you joining me this morning, just for a few minutes though.
Good morning, Lovina. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so have you ever invested in cryptocurrency?
I haven't actually, but I miss that I haven't done this when Bitcoin was up. Okay. I still regret it a bit, but I think I'm fine now and I'm planning to.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well,
yes.
You're not the only one who has a bit of a regret not having to invest in cryptocurrency. So we also visited the streets of Lagos, and we also spoke to a few Nigerians concerning whether or not they have invested in cryptocurrency, and if yes, they have, how has it affected their finances? So we'll just show you a brief clip. Just in a few minutes we'll do that. So, okay, but I'm quite sure going forward, you also heard about the issues with Binance and also how the federal government accused Binance of affecting our foreign exchange.
Yes, it's a key question that I would want some explanation to, because from what is claimed that the government is asking Binance to pay $10 billion for manipulating forex rates, for currency speculation, for rate fixing, and I'm wondering how can one company be accused of having that much power?
Yes.
So I'd really like someone to make it make sense to me, but let's stay tuned.
Okay.
And see what happens.
Yes, because I'm sure everybody has been talking about this for a while, and okay, so and also everybody is talking about this for a while, and we also have reasons to doubt the fact that Binance should be held responsible for this situation. So apart from this, like I mentioned earlier on, we should also have our Vox Pop to see how Nigerians felt about investing in cryptocurrency, how it's also affecting their finances for those of them who have. And a few of them had some interesting things to tell us. But also me, personally, I have invested in cryptocurrency in the past, but it wasn't so favorable for me. So eventually I had to just trade my funds and just withdraw the cash. Actually, that's my own experience investing in cryptocurrency. So we also have a guest that we're going to be talking about tackling financial crime and also protecting your funds during this Global Money Week celebration. As you know, the theme is protect your money and secure your future. As you know, Ikenna, I'm quite sure we're all using this part of the world to protecting our finances, whichever way, whether it's in our bonds, our stock, or even the physical cash. So how do you successfully protect your finances, Mr. Ike?
Quite frankly, I don't think one can actually 100% say you can protect your finances.
Okay.
You learn what you want to get into, you get into it with your fingers crossed and hope for the best. That's what I feel about it.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so I have a guest on Zoom, Prince Ogbonna. He's the CEO of iPayBTC Technologies. He will be joining us via Zoom to actually discuss this topic, how to protect your funds and tackle financial fraud also. It's also part of the activities to mark the Global Money Week. So, Mr. Prince Ogbonna, I hope you've joined us. Can you hear me, Prince Ogbonna?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you for joining us this morning on Markets Insights. Mr. Prince Ogbonna is the CEO of iPayBTC Technologies. So he's going to be discussing with us how to protect your funds and how to also tackle financial crimes and fraud in cryptocurrency. Thank you for joining us this morning on Markets Insight. Okay, so now I want to ask you, Mr. Ogbonna, so what role can cryptocurrency exchanges play in preventing fraud and money laundering?
Okay, I
Can you hear
think
me?
one of the first key things cryptocurrency exchanges should look at when it comes to preventing fraud and as well as malicious activity, mostly based on crypto education and Bitcoin education, more of enlightening its users and taking steps to mitigate such malicious activities, such as providing the right content in the sense of steps for them to navigate the usage of cryptocurrency. Because if you can look at the space, there's a whole lot of fraudulent activities happening there. When you are not fully aware of it, you fall prey and you become gullible to those kinds of activities.
Okay, can you hear me, Mr. Ogbonna? Okay,
Hello,
okay,
can you hear
that's good
me?
to know. Okay, that recently the Central Bank of Nigeria put up some regulations to actually try to regulate this cryptocurrency funds. And also, apart from that, I'm quite sure you heard about the issue with Binance. And recently, a Nigerian court has ordered Binance to actually release the names of investors into that trading platform because they actually want to have some form of regulation in that. So now, how can regulations be designed to balance innovation and financial security in the crypto space?
Well, innovation is important, and as well as protecting users is also important because it's more of striking the right balance when it comes to regulation, implementing regulation that will not stifle innovation. I think one of the key things here is for the regulators to actually understand this technology that will enable them to frame a framework that will encourage innovation as well as users protection as well, which is very, very, very crucial because when you look at the Binance issue, Binance is definitely not regulated in Nigeria, and because there is no framework to regulate exchanges or wallet providers. So this makes them, I think, play in their own terms. But I think if the government and regulators could circle back and look more in-depthly to this technology, and craft a way to bring the industry players of this technology together in a common table for them to build a framework that will encourage them to innovate or build tools around financial technology that will help empower individuals and as well as businesses. I think that is very, very critical in regulating the space, not just regulating it with a traditional mindset of regulation. I think this is a new technology. It deserves a very deliberate art in the sense of studying it for what it is, rather than regulating it from far.
Okay, so let me take you back a bit. I'm sure you remember the incident that happened with the executives from Binance when they visited Nigeria. So just to we're just going further backwards and just to recap some history right now. So Nigerian government ordered Binance to pay $10 billion for manipulating forex rates through its currency speculation and rate fixing, which they claim was to have cost Nigeria's currency, the way it's currently the naira is trading against the dollar and other foreign currencies at the moment. So now, can you actually help us to make this thing make sense? Because a lot of people really do not understand how a cryptocurrency was influencing our naira. So can you just make it make sense for us, Mr. Ogbonna?
All right. Well, for us to make sense of it fully, I think we need to first understand that our naira as a currency has been floated, which means it is at the whims of supply and demand. And when we look at the forex, the FSM market, mostly places you can buy and sell currency, Binance has been taking a spot recently as a place of price discovery because apart from the parallel market, which is the Aboki, the second place you can actually discover a price is through the peer-to-peer market and a crypto platform. And Binance has taken lead when it comes to playing a role of price discovery. And that then to the issue of speculating towards the naira. And you can see people setting up high rate that is not in correlation with the actual market demand. I think that is what actually stretched the issue of Binance, because in the sense of users are the free will to speculate prices,
Okay. Okay, so going further, actually, okay, yes, so would you actually advise a new investor to invest in Binance? Mr. Ogbonna?
Well, investing in Binance, you're looking at it as investing in a company, and there's a high level of counterparty risk involved in that, because anything happening to Binance means something is wrong with your investment, right? Then I think that is not totally advisable by me, looking at the kind of counterparty risk involved. And what I could actually advise is more of looking into Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is totally different in the sense of it has no counterparty risk attached with Bitcoin. There is no CEO, there is no founder, it's more of like a commodity, and there is no central issuers of the token. So Bitcoin is on a different realm when you come to Binance. Binance has a lot of counterparty issue involved in it, which makes it vulnerable and prone for risk.
Before we joined you via Zoom, my colleague and I were talking about investing in cryptocurrency also, and he also had some doubts. So I hope with the way Mr. Ogbonna has answered the questions, I hope, Ikenna, you're actually convinced that you would invest in cryptocurrency.
I like the confidence of our guests, so
Okay.
I would really look into it severely.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me this morning, Ikenna Mba. So yeah, so definitely you'll come back afterwards when we finish the conversation with Mr. Ogbonna. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so looking further at Mr. Ogbonna, recently Bitcoin's weekly losses have continued as the cryptocurrency has slipped from $76,000 to $63,000. I mean, it's apparently this new trend just started recently, just this week. So what are your thoughts on this, Mr. Ogbonna?
Well, I think when you look at Bitcoin trajectory upwards, it's taking an upward trajectory, and we've officially entered the bull market. And then when you look at the bull market, corrections like these are, I think historically has been evident. These are normal correction in the market.
This year, the theme for the Global Money Week is protect your money and secure your future. And I'm quite sure for that reason, you've noticed that a lot of people have been investing in different Bitcoins and cryptocurrency platforms because of the privacy that this gives them, where they can invest their funds, especially in Nigeria, where we haven't really started buying and selling different items with this cryptocurrency. We haven't started paying for luxury goods or any other items with this cryptocurrency. So, but we can still use it as a form of investment, so, and also to save money. So in addition to that, actually, what would you say about the recent regulation or the recent court order by a Nigerian court instructing Binance to release the names of investors in their platform, particularly the Nigerian investors? I believe the federal government, or rather the financial regulatory bodies in the country, want to have a firm grip on who these people are that are investing in this cryptocurrency platform, especially knowing fully well that it's a private trading platform and investors go into this area because of the privacy attached to it. So what do you have to say about this?
Well, I think for the regulators first, I think it shocks them to see an inflow of almost 23 billion passing through Binance last year. Because when you look at that, when you zoom out, the official channel for remittance does an average of 25 billion, and net alone, Binance is doing that inflow. I think that's a cause of worry for the government and the regulators. It means that something is happening and they're not aware of it. And that's why I think I'm fighting tooth and nail to make sure they go through these list of transactions, and as well as ascertain the kind of transaction that passes through Binance. I think that has been one of the most prevalent thing out there. So you can see them still scrambling to get a piece of that information. And then without doubt, I think this should also give them an introspect of looking at the crypto industry, knowing that this is a very huge market. It's just like a smoke, and there's a big fire underneath it, right? It's more of them looking inward. How do we harmonize, and how do we not let this kind of activities happen under the hood? We need to be aware of this kind of inflow, because 20 billion is not a joke when you compare it to our GDP and as well as the remittance we are getting in Nigeria. Like these funds are not being accounted for. I think that's a worry for the government, and I actually get that aspect of it.
So do you support this court order saying that we need to know the names of people who have invested in cryptocurrency? Do you support it?
Well, I think I don't totally support the aspect of knowing people that have invested in cryptocurrency, in the sense of I think everyone has the right and everyone is entitled to the privacy to own any property they deem fit to have, in the sense of that. But what I do support is if there is a channel for illicit funds, fraudulent activities, or financing terrorism, like they said, I think they should go deep and actually ascertain that fact. If it's just like a mere mirage in order to spook the public that something is actually happening in Binance, which I know these are just normal inflows coming back and forth into the country. I think in that aspect, they have the right to fact check. But if it's just to screw in people that are investing in this, I don't think they definitely have the right, because it's your funds, it's your property, and you have the full right to own the asset.
Okay. Okay, so now what do you think are the challenges of applying traditional anti-money laundering technologies or techniques to cryptocurrencies?
Well, I think they are important when it comes to anti-money laundering. I think every platform, in the sense of offering a wallet as a service or an exchange, to have a means to fact check anti-money laundering, because money laundering is something that is not tolerable in the financial world. Any means to mitigate that, I think I'm totally in support of that. And platforms and exchanges should enforce such policies, even though there are no clear-cut regulation and how to enforce them. I believe platforms and exchanges should self-regulate themselves or self-police themselves in order of putting in measures that help forestall such activities in their platform.
Okay. Okay, that's very true, actually. That will actually help to prevent any kind of fraudulent activities taking place in these cryptocurrency platforms. Okay, so now, as I mentioned earlier on, the privacy, the anonymity inherent to some of these cryptocurrencies, now how can they be balanced with the need for transparency in financial transactions, actually?
Well, I think striking the balance is always tricky, right? Because Bitcoin on its nature is a public ledger, right? It's open and accessible to everyone. And the anonymity part of it means we can see what is happening without actually knowing who is performing the transaction, right? So it's a very tricky scenario. What it offers is a radar. I think the law enforcement or the regulators can look into the radar to ascertain what is actually happening. But I think where they cannot ascertain fully is who is actually performing this and that. I think that is where privacy really comes in, because let's be honest, crypto offers that privacy, because what you're only seeing is the movement of funds on the blockchain alone. You're not actually seeing who is performing what transaction on the blockchain. So I think it's a very tricky scenario, but more tools and more technologies will help to amplify privacy, and as well as a surveillance tools as well, because two of them are very important. Because to be honest, the regulators and the law enforcement needs to do their job, and as well as individual needs to carry on their day-to-day business.
Okay, that's very true, actually. Yes, I understand what you're saying. But as a crypto expert, now for example, most crypto experts out there will convince you one way and another to invest in crypto. They will tell you the pros and cons of investing in crypto, which is also good. But what are some of the most common types of fraudulent activities that you encounter within the crypto space? That's the first question. And what measures would you recommend to mitigate these risks?
Well, okay, I think most common types of fraudulent activities, like I stated earlier, mostly the pump and dump scheme. the rug pull scheme, and as well as hacks and phishing. So these are the most common types of activities out there. And for a user to actually make sense of this, he really needs to understand all these concepts. But the tricky part of understanding it is you must have to experience it in one way or the other. But you have to find someone who has actually experienced it. So I think this is where education really, really comes in. You don't have to experience it yourself. You could definitely learn out there and know that there are pitfalls to this. And for you to mitigate it, I think proper education, proactive learning, and learning and studying Bitcoin will be definitely helpful, because Bitcoin is a different kind of asset class when compared to every other crypto out there, because Bitcoin on its own is a very neutral asset. It has no central issuer. It has no counterparty risk involved. And that alone makes it, I think, a formidable kind of asset compared to every other thing. And there are two types of asset there, Bitcoin and every other thing. So when you narrow down into Bitcoin, I think it has definitely mitigated you in exposing yourself to every other crypto asset out there, which has an inherent risk of counterparty, right? So they are definitely there. But Bitcoin offers you an asset class which has no counterparty risk, because there is no issue of Bitcoin. It's just a simple commodity that you can own and store for yourself. And as well as if you're a high valued, I think, holder or investor of crypto asset, you can look into having cold storage or investing in hardware devices. Those are more prone to attack because they're definitely isolated from the internet.
Okay. Okay, yes, I listened to some of the things you mentioned. You said the pump and dump scheme, the rug pull scheme. So what is the pump and dump scheme?
Well, just like the name, pump and dump is more of a psychological activity that employs marketing tactics, influencing and hyping a project or a token, luring investors and subscribers to join in the token. I think when they join in, it is the token has actually pumped, right? So the perpetrators of this art tend to sell off when there is enough people being lured in. And when they sell it off, they tend to dump the token on the late subscribers of this token. So just like the name implies, they pump it and they get to dump it on the later on.
Okay, and with proper education, like how can you actually avoid being a victim of this scheme, this pump and dump scheme?
Well, I think the first thing you should master in the financial world is financial discipline. You don't need to be swayed away with promises, because those are fake promises with little to no value. Because when you look at it critically, like what propagates the value of this return, because this pump and dump offers you something in reality is so good to be true. They offer you 300x in return, 500x in return. I think first is to be disciplined and curtail your greed and know that there is no investment that is worth the while that comes through that such avenue of promising you such return. The only thing it does is to siphon the little one you have. I think users should be aware and very cognizant of such promises and curtail their greed, and as well as discipline themselves not to buy into the market frenzy. Despite with the return, they should say, no, this is not actually achievable when you come to economic sense, because economy is based on value for value. What value is such project propagating? Despite such perpetrators gives you a lot of value, give you a lot of buzzwords for you to join in. And I think underline it, you need to do your own research and know that in the economic principles of the marketplace, a value for value in order for any investment to grow.
Okay, okay. So now, okay, based on everything you have said now, so in your own opinion, now what role do you think emerging technologies such as blockchain analytics and also AI-powered surveillance, what role can these tools play in preventing financial crimes in the crypto space?
Well, I think they will play a certain role in doing that, in mitigating financial crime. Because when you look at it, the blockchain on its own is a public ledger, right? with the AI making autonomous decision and taking insights and data points, I think they could definitely draw a pattern in highlighting fraudulent transaction and as well as malicious transaction as well. I think AI powered with the blockchain analytics has the potential to help unravel such malicious and fraudulent transaction over the blockchain.
Okay, now we know cryptocurrency is a means of investment that is digitally enhanced, is a technological tool for legal tender, for transactions. Like I mentioned earlier on, in other countries of the world, you could actually use the money from this cryptocurrency to actually purchase items. But in Nigeria, it's just all about saving and investments. That's what we use it for. So now how can, in looking at it on a wider scale now, on the international level now, how can international cooperation be improved to combat cross-border crypto crime? Actually, this is not just within Nigeria, but also outside the country too. So how can we have international cooperation, not just within African countries, also with countries in Europe, in the Americas, to actually improve cross-border crypto crime?
Well, when it comes to cross-border payment, I think Bitcoin does it well because it has no regard for any national border, but it has no regard for any state border, right? It is on the cyberspace, and trying to combat that, I think is more of international agencies and as well as stakeholders to come together, like putting analytics, like we said earlier, and tools for surveillance on the blockchain to be able to detect payments. But when it comes to that, I don't think this is a job for any one state nation. I think it can be a collaborative effort from different state nations to find a way to have an oversight on the blockchain in order to help pinpoint financial crimes.
Okay. So now, just before we go, I just want to ask you two last questions now. Okay, now the first one now, in what ways can the government, I'm quite sure you would actually, if you were in the position of government, you would want the government to support cryptocurrency and other Bitcoin trading platforms actually. Am I correct, Mr. Prince Ogbonna?
Yes, I would definitely advise them to narrow down on Bitcoin.
Governments and financial institutions leverage cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to foster financial inclusion and empower individuals, businesses, particularly those in rural communities in Nigeria.
You know, like you mentioned earlier, you said one key thing about Bitcoin that is a store of value and a sort of an investment vehicle, which is definitely the killer app of Bitcoin, right? Then when you look at it, how do we leverage on this application of store of value in order to optimize for individual and businesses? You can see it, it goes a very long way because the key problems we are having today is mostly based on inflation and devaluation of our value, right? So Bitcoin offers a different proposition, and leveraging on this boils down to the innovators. How do we dice or how do we slice these products or this application to help suiting individual and as well as businesses, that different use cases we could leverage on this, such as savings technology. I'm sure in today's world, saving is obsolete. Why? Because you can't be saving in a currency that is devaluing, right? So investment becomes the most, I think, the most go-to, which investment comes with kinds of different inherent risk attached to it. People even invest in vehicles that they know little to about of that particular vehicle, just in the sake of trying to safeguard their value. While Bitcoin, on the other hand, offers a different kind of alternative where you can actually store your value with Bitcoin. Over time, it tends to optimize your value and as well as be a hedge against inflation as well. And mostly for businesses as well. You can see most businesses with excessive cash in their vault or excessive cash reserve. They ask themselves, what do we do with this cash reserve? How do we safeguard it for the future? I think Bitcoin becomes an alternative for them to have on their balance sheet. They can stock some Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and knowing over time the value gets to optimize. Because one key thing about Bitcoin is this scarcity. only 21 million of it will ever exist. And what does it does to the holder of Bitcoin? It optimizes your value over time, because the more the world tend to discover Bitcoin, the more the demand for it keeps rising, and the supply of it keeps shrinking. So you can see scarcity plays a very big role in Bitcoin, which makes it a superior form of value for individuals, businesses, and even state nation. Like Nigeria can actually reconsider and look inwards. How do we leverage on this kind of monetary technology as well?
Okay, thank you for joining us this morning, Prince Ogbonna, the CEO of iPayBTC Technologies, as we spoke about the activities to mark the Global Money Week and also the theme for this year's Global Money Week 2024, which is protect your money and secure your future. And also we discussed further on how to protect ourselves when trading with cryptocurrencies and also how to mitigate financial fraud and crime also. And like you rightfully said, there should be a lot of research and education before we invest in cryptocurrency. So thank you for joining us this morning on Market Insights. We look forward to having you again on the program.
My pleasure, and nice being here. Thank you.
So let's take a look at our money market rates this morning. Let's look at the financial, let's look at the CBN rates and also the black market rates, or the unofficial rate, the parallel market rates this morning. So I'm joined by my colleague Ikenna Mba as he shares with us what the money market rates are this morning, today, 20th March. So Ikenna, what are the figures showing this morning? I understand, yes, there should be a difference. Maybe it has reduced this morning. It's not the same price it was yesterday. So can you share with us?
Thank you, Lovina. And in Forex, current rates are up. There's a slight increment across board. So dollar is selling officially at 1,500 to parallel markets 1,590, and pounds 1,938 to parallel 2,040. Euros selling for 1,660 to 1,715 in the parallel markets. That's it for the rates. Back to you, Lovina.
Okay, that was interesting. I can see the figures have actually increased from yesterday, actually. There seems to be a lot of difference between those figures, actually. Thank you so much for joining my colleague and I, Ikenna Mba, and I, Lovina Emma, as we spoke to you today about activities concerning the Global Money Market Week this year, and also tackling financial fraud and how to mitigate your ways handling cryptocurrency and fraudulent activities or crime in the crypto space. And I was also joined by my guest, Prince Ogbonna, as they also shared more insights on this. So that's our time this morning on Market Insight. Thank you for joining us. I'll stay tuned to the next program on Souk News.